Hi guys, welcome back to another quick card pull. This is being filmed on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Today we're pulling from the Wild Unknown Tarot cards. This is a great deck. I love it. Check out Amazon. I think that the Prime Days are coming, so check the deck out. We have Judgment. I love that it's like peace. I feel like soaring above everything because I feel like with the cornfield, like you can only see, and it can feel claustrophobic. And I feel like a lot of us are feeling that energy with this shift that's going on. If you watch Aya Wisdom on TikTok, like you know what I'm talking about. And it's like you're about to soar above all this. And I feel like they keep saying that like this energy is dissolving. I definitely feel like honestly this feels like retrograde energy. Like I know we have one coming up on the 29th and it's a full moon, so it could be a bunch of things, you know what I mean? But I just feel like if you're like myself where there's a lot of things that are shifting, it's just like, with my girlfriend I was talking to before I started filming, I'm like, just do the best you can. Make the most of the situation. It's like a lot of us have pressure because it's like, with our action, there's a reaction and we're afraid of the action that we take is incorrect. You know what I mean? But it's like following your intuition. Like myself, I went directly to the source. I'm like, hey, oh, this is the answer. With the other thing, I'm doing the best I can. Something is out of my hands. I'm keeping an eye on it. And when they make their way towards us, I will be like, this is what's going on. It's unfortunate that there's so much uncertainty. Um, but I feel like this is a lesson. It's a very hard lesson because it's very stressful. And they reminded me when, I was minding my business, getting ready to go for work. I was waiting for, my time to start and I got a phone call. And I wasn't going to take it because I'm like, I don't know who the heck this is. I don't answer phone calls. I don't know who it is. So I answered it and it's an answered prayer. And I messaged my boss. I'm like, hey, I got a call for this. And I'm like, I'm right here. And he's like, yeah, I can see you're in green. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. I said, but, I'm going to be late. Let me take this phone call. And he's like, yeah, no problem. You can't help sometimes when positive things happen, right? So I took the call and it just everything like domino effect. It was during a retrograde. It was not easy. It did not, you know what I mean, go without any issues, but it's like I was just grateful when the situation was over. You know what I mean? Like I was definitely exhausted. And I feel like that's what a lot of us feel. We feel exhaustion. The temperatures, if you're in the northern hemisphere, are getting warmer. So that plays a role into it. And with all the uncertainty, because if you're like myself that likes to have a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G through the whole alphabet, when things are out of our control, it's like I understand I can't control the situation, but I will try to, they're saying the word mitigate this as much as possible. I will try to, you know, do what I can. And this circumstance, I can't do nothing about it. And it's like, you know what I mean? I just don't want a negative repercussion. And it's like, I'm trying to stay positive as much as possible, but you know what I mean? You can't help but feel a certain way as well. So do the best you can. Meditation, if you have any crystals that really resonate with you, amethyst, rose quartz, tiger's eye, and this is for the people that wear the crystals, put them in the bras, if you have gauged ears like myself, you put them in your gauged ears, whatever resonates with you. Some of you, this may not resonate, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Not everything that I say or talk about is supposed to resonate with everybody. So we have the Hierophant, and I feel like because it's a minor message with crows, it's also the number of change. I feel like it's like you hold the key, and I feel like the key information. We do have the High Priestess later on, so again, I feel like this is just like there's some information that's known to you. I can feel in my heart of hearts what happened, and you know what I mean. Like I've had conversations with my son, and it's just like, watch what we say from now on. You know what I mean? But it's like there's a time of peace coming here. Once that comes down, it's just like, you know what I mean? There's another it's just I don't know, man. It's just like, can we just I'm supposed to be on vacation. Can we just be calm and skate through the next couple of weeks? Like, you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But all you can do is your best. That's all you can ask for is doing your best and putting your best foot forward, and with the information you have, if you have a gut feeling, if you have an intuition, it's probably right on. Just you know what I mean? Just try to keep yourself, as not as small. I'm not trying to say like to change yourself, but don't put your, you know what I mean? You know what's going on, so let's pull back. You know what I mean? Like, these people aren't your friends. So Six of Cups, we were talking about this earlier in the week, that you will start giving like pouring into other people's cup. I feel like because you have a lot of growth happening under the surface, this is going to ground you more. So this may be a call for, for you to go outside, get in nature and do the things. It's, you know what I mean? It's, because you can see the trees in shadow. Like, I know it's the deck, but I feel like because you're going through a lot, maybe you're in your head a lot. And it's like, we need to do the best we can. Like, drop your shoulders from beside your neck, remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. I've been watching, I saw his name because I watch one of his videos daily, where it's Sound Healing by Kobe, I think it's called. I'm pretty sure I messed that up, but pretty close to it. He's on TikTok, and he has the giraffe logo, and where it's like the anxiety video, it's, you know what I mean, it's just sitting there breathing deep, my shoulders keep going up. It's like removing your shoulders from the side of your neck and just be like, you know what, we're doing the best we can. You know what I mean? Try to ground yourself as best that's all you can do. Like, you know what I mean? Things are out of our, like, that situation. One happened today. The other one's probably, Spirit had given me a date. So it's probably going to be right around there, which they're not quite off, because what I can visually see is, bang on. But this may be a call for you to do your own personal reading. Maybe you have someone that you go to, and it's like, go to them and get a reading, you know what I mean, if you're able to, or if you feel comfortable to, but I feel like if you are a person that does get channel messages, maybe it's time to sit with pen and paper and do that for yourself. Just, with myself, I'm just like, I need to recuperate my energy. I know I need to replenish myself. So it's just like doing things that bring that replenishment in. And one of those is sleeping. So with myself, I'm like, should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm like, no, we need to recuperate, because I already feel tired. So, you know what I mean? It's just like, that is a call for Spirit being like, you need to watch where you're putting your energy right now. And I had asked someone, they asked for a reading, and I'm like, let me just recuperate. Because anytime I read for anyone, it's just like, I want to give you 1,000,000,000,000% of myself. I don't want to read into you and it's like, 10% of myself. That isn't fair. So, you know, that's why I'm saying, just be very kind to yourself right now, because there's a lot of growth happening under the surface. I know the energy is shifting to more calm, thank the Lord. You know what I mean? Because the retrograde starts at the end of the month. But I just feel like, I'm just going by myself with that situation that's out of my control. You know what I mean? It's doing the best we can. That's all we can. That's all we can do. Thank God the boys are older. They're very helpful. You know what I mean? It's just Sunny. Oh my God. All he does is bark. We have the Eight of Pentacles, so concentrating on work endeavors. But how beautiful is when you, like, especially this time of year, it's like when you see the spiders and it's like the dew from the overnight, and they built a fresh spider web, and it's like all the dews on it, and it looks so beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what it's like, the beauty. Like, you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're pouring into your own cup. Your work is out on display. So you could be an influencer, quote unquote. You could be posting videos, whatever resonates with yourself. You know what I mean? And it's just like, with myself, I post videos that speak to my heart, speak to my soul. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe someone needs to hear this today. Let me put that out there. You know what I mean? And it's just like something that will lift you up. Sometimes, like, I just posted off of, I have the alarm app on my phone, so now they started posting these. They have some really good ones, and then it disappears. I'm like, well, let me share it. You know what I mean? But it's like that one where it says you learn to write with pencil and then with pen as you get older. So it's like, we can erase, some things, or we have a little bit more leeway as we're younger. But as we gain more wisdom and knowledge, it's like the biggest way to show that, you've changed as an individual is your actions. Also your words. It's like, now we have the wisdom, we have the understanding. Oh, we can't say that. You know what I mean? Because you have to have a filter, because it's like, that may hurt someone. That may be the one thing that pushes them over the edge. You know what I mean? So even though I feel like there's a group mentality, like a mom mentality. It's like, oh, let's all pile in. It's like, you don't have to. That's not who you are. Don't change who you are. Like I said earlier, like, I feel like when I was saying, like, take a step back, it's like kind of reevaluate what you're doing, and then, you learned a lesson there. It's like recalibrate and move forward. So just keep your words to yourself. I feel like a lot of us go through this journey where there's a lot of moving pieces. Like, I try to ground myself and be like, especially, I'm like, I have a higher priority. It's like, get those things done. Whatever I get done bonus in the day, that, it gets done, because with the one project, it was like, people are sleeping and this, and it's like, you don't want to disturb people. But it's like, the future is lining up beautifully. Don't worry about the future. And I feel like this is a grounding card where it's just like, a gentle reminder, like, where you've gone through journeys in your life where you're worried that things will not turn out. I feel like this is spirit saying everything's lining up beautifully because you show up every day. You put out the energy, universe matches that energy. It may not be the time to jump into where you're trying to jump into. A lot of people are saying this is a quantum jump for a lot of people. We don't know how it's going to play out. That's the thing. It's a mystery. We go to tarot. We get channel messages. I feel like this is a great time for communication with spirit. I feel like meditation is receiving those messages. And I feel like that's why they're saying, like, you need to take care of yourself right now. Drink your water, get your sleep if you're able to. I know, especially when your anxiety is high, it's hard to sleep. So it's like taking care of you. If you're able to nap and you could take a nap, take one. Because it's like that might be what the fuel you need to turn this around. When Shane first passed away, it was like the shock and acceptance that I was, working through the widow fog. When that lifted, that just was brilliant. But it was like my sister's like, even I wasn't sleeping very much. And she's just like, you're exhausted. I was exhausted by 8. I was just like, I'm done, and she's like, go lay down. She's like, even if you don't pass out, close everything up for the day. 17 is a number that I see. So she was just like, just lay down. And she's just like, close your eyes. Even if you're sleeping for 15 minutes, she goes, your body's going to start understanding like this is something we need, and sure enough, I started sleeping again. I didn't want to take medications or anything because I'm like, I need to face this head on. I need to feel everything I'm feeling. I am an individual that does feel very deeply. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I needed to go through that journey and I needed to do what was best for myself. And that was one of them. So I'm thankful she told me that because it did really help me. And then I started napping because I was like, you know what? You're tired, go take a nap, and eventually it was like I was getting more of that deep sleep. And, people need that, when you think that mental illness is like, oh, because they're cuckoo or delulu. No, a lot of it is that they live in their head. And that's why I say watch your words, because you never know what someone's going through and you only see what's going on the surface, and that could be the one thing that pushes them over. A card that we've been getting a lot is the Three of Wands, and this is universe supporting you, telling your ship is about to come in. Again, I feel like this is answering prayers. I feel like this is conversations that you've had. This is like, asking for help, and it's like, we're here, we're helping you. We hear, like, we're protecting you. We know that your energy is being, channeled somewhere else right now. So we're going to take care of you. We're going to put it where we need it. And we got your back. This is a cycle. This too shall pass. Like, it's a lot lighter than it was last week. So that's what I'm saying. It's just, with myself, I know that I was just done. I was burnt out. So I was just like, this week, just take it easy. Don't do anything crazy. You know what I mean? Whatever happens during the day happens during the day. So that's all you can do. You got to take care of yourself. Nobody else is going to dust you off and pick you up and take care of you. So you got to make sure that you're giving 110% to yourself as well. Have the High Priestess. Again, knowledge coming to you. So we are now in the the waxing crescent. So we're heading towards, the first quarter, which leads to the full moon. I feel like this is why they're saying there's more information coming here. And again, we're kind of where she's laying down. It's like lay low. You know what I mean? That's all. You know what I mean? Try not to draw any attention to yourself right now. You know what I mean? It's just watch your words, watch who you're talking to. You know what I mean? They're saying it's a sewing circle, so you know what I mean? They may not want you in your sewing circle. They're showing Morticia. It's like, I never asked to be part of your sewing circle. But that's what it is. It's just like, if you kind of like, you can't sit with us, kind of like high school nonsense. You can't sit with us. Okay. I didn't want to sit with you anyway, but this is where it's just like, listening to spirit, taking their advice. Cause sometimes we need to take a beat. This is where like a lot of cards just came out one after the other. So, buckle up. But this is where they're saying this change, this brand new start, the Fool. Get ready to fly. It's a gosling. So a lot of the, young birds, we're very, blessed to see this hawk family, where they would nurture the eggs and then the eggs were hatched and then they started flying. So the parents would let the birds fly, and you would see like the ones above and ones below. It's like, it's kind of what the universe is telling you. We're above you so you can fly, keeping an eye on you. We're below you as well when you feel like you're descending. You know what I mean? Kind of like what kind of energy we're in now. We're pushing you back up. So it's like, you go ahead and keep living. Don't dim. I feel like it's like, don't dim your light, but also watch, like they said, kind of lay low, like your words, your actions and stuff like that. Because obviously something is happening here, and I know what it is, but you know what I mean? It's just, I feel like that's where you start removing your energy from those situations. We have the Wheel of Fortune. So again, a positive confirmation that everything is moving forward. So with the High Priestess and the Wheel of Fortune, this has already been happening. So if we go back to that tree card, like they said, there's a lot of stuff going on underneath the surface. That's why we feel so, the way that we do. Not only are we exerting ourselves in everyday life, that's the thing though, when you're going through things, it's like, people don't care. They're like, you're here to do this. So in a job or school or whatnot, you're expected to do this. You will not get a lot of empathy in those situations. You know what I mean? So you got to do what's best for your individual self. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, they expect this, but it's like, you have so much more going on that they don't understand. So, sometimes you got to you know, be like, I don't need to put up with this. You know what I mean? You got to take care of you. So Nine of Wands, and this is where it's like ascension. You do see the stairs, and that's what I feel like. It's like, kind of heading into like that 10 of Wands energy, where it feels like everything is so heavy in that way, and they're just saying like, don't take anything else on while we move this stuff through. And I feel like that's what they're saying. Things are moving forward, but they're also moving forward to completion. Like they said, that the things are like wrapping themselves up. So in this situation, yes, they're wrapping up, but it's just like, that's where spirit is just like, it's wrapping up. It's near the end. Like the end is almost near with that situation. So, no worries. Just keep moving forward. You know what I mean? This is where spirit is just like, we have your back. We're with you. We understand what's going on. We're trying to lessen the burdens. Don't take anything else on. So like myself, I was like, and I'm like, no. I calculated everything. I'm like, no, don't do that. Just take a beat, take a break. You know what I mean? Get prepared. Need a woosah, need a recharge. Poetic justice. I feel like there's and I don't wish this on anyone, because I'm just like, I'll just suffocate the situation. I'm not breathing any more air into it. You know what I mean? It's just like, we're cordial. That's it. Even if that, but I feel like this is making me feel uncomfortable, where it's just like going directly to, you know what I mean? I just don't want, you know what I mean, to be that person, but obviously it's turning into that. But you know what I mean? I feel like there's going to be some sort of karma to pay here. You know what I mean? And I don't wish that on anyone. I'm just like, you know what? I just remove myself, and that it is what it is. You know what I mean? Don't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be that person that was there for you. It's just 1818. So, you know what I mean? So that's 9-9. So again, the world card, things wrapping up. This is what it's all leading to. The spread after this is brilliant. But it's like the star card, a time of rest and rejuvenation, a time of you grounding your energy. So this is your higher self saying, hey, catching yourself when you're feeding into negative situations. It's like, stop that. Put it into something positive. Stop wasting your energy. This is what's exhausting you. Yeah, life may be exhausting right now, but you adding into this and feeding into it, it's like, you have so much beautiful energy and love and understanding and wisdom and knowledge. It's like, why are you feeding into that? Like, stop it. Catch yourself. Don't do it anymore. It's like, you know what I mean? You're going to have to, this is a habit you're going to have to build. You catch yourself doing it? No, we're not doing that. Stop it. Things are moving forward. You are moving forward. This looks like the full moon behind it going to the waning crescent. So this is the end of the month moving forward into July. Things are moving forward. This is where you're going to see this major shift happening here. But the positive thing here is the universe is telling you to keep moving forward. You are the chariot. You are in charge of your life. Yeah, they want you to stop where you are, curl up into a little ball and be this fragile, delicate little thing that they can push over and knock over, and they keep, they're pushing you out of the way so they can keep moving forward. They're showing like chest. You're like a pawn to them. You're in there for some reason. They feel like you're in the way. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we knock you out, then we move forward. And it's like, but you don't have the stamina, the wisdom, and everything that I have. That there's a reason why I am who I am. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to tell yourself. You know, you've been through some effed up situations, and you got through that effed up shit, and it's like here you are standing, and it's like, are you gonna let this stand in your way? No, this is nothing compared to what you've already been through. You know what I mean? So just be kind to yourself. We have the Emperor, so again, surrounding around your foundation. There may be a lunar eclipse coming up. Maybe that's why they're highlighting that. But again, with the foundation, and I feel like that's where it's just like they're showing the Emperor and they're showing where he has his crimson red robe on. And then he has it pulled up where he's showing his armor underneath. And it's like, don't forget who I am and where I've come from. I feel like a lot of individuals misunderestimate you. I feel like a lot of people don't understand you. I feel like they go by other people's words, which is, unfortunate, but I've been dealing with that my whole life, Oh, I thought you were this because this one said that. But some people will not throw people under the bus. I feel like in this situation, they really just don't give a crap. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, whatever. We'll just, it is what it is. So don't let anyone step over you or step on you, but obviously don't make the situation more difficult. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's where they're showing the Emperor is like, I feel like it's a reminder, don't forget who you are. You know what I mean? And again, like you've been through way worse crap with no harm to none, including yourself. 21. 21's another number. But it's just like, you deserve happiness too. You know what I mean? Misunderstanding is the word they're using. So again, I feel like there's someone that likes to manipulate people, cause chaos. That's not who you are. But like they said, you know what I mean? You play a little too much. You know what I mean? When you start messing with people's lives that don't need to be messed with, you know what I mean? It's like, this is where you pull back and it's like, you're not pouring your energy into them anymore. Yeah. Or the situation. And that's where they're going to see the other side of things. Another gentle reminder, we've been getting this on a lot, that also portal energy, like you are going to be successful. You will be the victor wearing the wreath. You know what I mean? Some of these things are out of our hands, or unexpected things like today. You know what I mean? It's just like, what can you do? You can just work your way through it, move your way forward as best as you can. That's all you can do. You know what I mean? You didn't ask for this situation, but here we are. And it's just like, that's why they're saying things are moving forward. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Just watch who you're giving your energy into. And, a lot of us like to kiki and stuff like that. And sometimes we're just venting. That's how you feel in the situation. Unfortunately, some people like to weaponize that kind of stuff. You feel angry at the moment. You're just venting. You don't actually mean. Well, I don't know, but it's just like, you know what I mean. It's like there was no need to stir the pot, and that's exactly what they did. So karma's gonna be a bee. Don't celebrate when it happens, but just be mindful of like that's why it happened, because they messed with the wrong person. You can also do freezer magic. Put their names in a Ziploc bag and freeze them out. They're showing the Magician. You already have what it takes to move forward. And I feel like that's where the Emperor comes in. It's like, yeah, you wear a crimson robe and, you're a peaceful person and, you know what I mean? You're not looking for chaos in your life. But people F around and find out. It's like, yeah, I may be, this kind of person. Like a lot of people who are God-fearing. What do? They pick and prod and poke and, we prey on it. And it's like, we get to a point where it's just like, you know what? Hang on to this for me for a minute. Like the girls back in the day, like, hang on to my hoop earrings for a second. They're showing strength. I love that it's like the universe is offering you a flower. This kind of looks like Sunny's mane. I love it. But it's just like, I was like sitting there holding Sunny and I was waiting for my son's food to cook there. And I was doing my prayers and my devotion before work. And I had Sunny on my chest and I'm like, oh, thank you for loving us so much. And, just cuddling him and everything. I'm like, oh. But it's just, there's another grounding force, spending time with your fur babies, but it's just like, allow the universe to love on you, allow the universe to give you your strength, call on your loved ones. You know what I mean? It's like, they are there to love you. They are there to protect you. They are there to give you strength. They're offering you that beautiful flower. It's like, unconditional love. We love you. Let us do what we need to do. This is what we're here for. You know what I mean? You like our company. Well, allow us to protect you at this time. You know what I mean? Like we do this prayer, the angel protection prayer. And it's like envisioning, Yahweh, Yeshua, whomever you believe in, to put a dome, a protection over your home. So we live in a duplex, so we also ask for our neighbor, and you know what I mean, just to protect us and guide us, and not wishing any harm on anyone, but it's just like, only that from what comes from God is allowed in our home. You're bringing peace, you're allowed in our home. This is where it goes back to that situation. You're bringing chaos and all that, you're not welcome here. We don't need that here. You want to F around and find out, go do that on your own time and on your own area. This is where we have the Ten of Pentacles, unconditional love. We were just talking about this. You have unconditional love in your life. You have amazing things coming into your life. And I know these low vibrational things, because we don't know how they're going to turn out, is stressing us out. But it's just like, you know what? You got to be logical with yourself. One situation, we are doing the best we can. We've, done here, we've done there. Trying to find out more information, you know what I mean? Just trying to make it a smooth, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, everybody's happy. Some people may see, like, why do they don't understand, because they're in a different situation. Doesn't bother them. You know what I mean? But I know that's going to, you know what I mean? I get off at 2 a.m. I'm going to get like 4 hours of sleep, and I got to be up, doing that. It's just like, but, just make the most of it. That's, you know what I mean? And this is like, happy, peaceful home. If you're in a relationship, a situationship, it's like, happy couple, happy children, peace and harmony. So the biggest thing to take away from all this freaking chaos and change and energy, high energy, and you know what I mean? They're saying, like, you got some, under the surface things happening. Like, you're growing, you're expanding your knowledge, your wisdom, channel messages. But the biggest thing is that everything is leading to peace. This is almost done. Like they were saying, this too shall pass. This is not going to last forever. You know what I mean? This is, one day for us, but it's just like, it's for the betterment. I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to say, like, it's not a good blessing, but it's very, how would you, it just doesn't fit into your day. You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? It'd be nice if they came on my day off, but they don't work on my day off. So, that's all we can do. It's going to be a long freaking day, but, somehow, some way we'll find our way forward. Not only did we get the Ten of Pentacles, we got the Ten of Cups. So Ten of Cups, or Ten of Pentacles, is an absolute yes. Absolutely yes, everything will work out in your favor. I feel like these are all the chakras, get yourself into alignment, do meditations. So 10 of Cups as well. Unconditional love, unconditional, support, strength. You know what I mean? Don't forget who you are. And a lot of times when we all this is coming at us, we forget who we are. We forget how far we come. We forget, like, and this is not, this is where, again, Passion of the Christ, where that tries to come, and it's like, oh, you're low vibrational, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to mess with that. I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to try and kick you off your high horse. They think you're on your high horse, but you're not. You're not that kind of person. You don't be like, oh, here I am waving your hand, like, like they're peasants or something. What's his name? King Julian or what it is from Madagascar, where you don't have that attitude. They think that's our attitude, but we don't. You know what I mean? We're not trying to hear make waves, So, again, grounding yourself. You have all the chakra lights there. You know what I mean? It's just just do the best you can. That's all you can do. Last card is the World. Everything is wrapping up. You know what I mean? We did see the Wheel of Fortune earlier, because things are wrapping up because we're moving forward. And you're making the choice to move forward. Even though it's effed up, even though all this chaos and noise and nonsense is going on, it's like, I'm still choosing to move forward. I'm going to be gentle to myself. Make sure to drink your water, get your sleep, eat properly. I feel like the biggest message here is that this too shall pass. I feel like just keep on believing in yourself, keep pushing forward, do everything that resonates with yourself, and make sure you're taking care of you. Yes, I know we're problem solvers. I know we love on people. That's the thing with individuals that are healers, or that absorb other people's energies, is that we try to make sure that everyone is doing good. We try to make sure that nobody... Take care of yourselves. May the universe bless you good. We'll see you for the next Daily Tarot card.